The Blue Jackets need a bounce-back win tonight. Can they do it against the Sharks? We're going to talk about that on today's Locked On Blue Jackets.
You're Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster, here to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about your favorite team and mine, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before we get things started, I want to thank everyone for making this your first listen of the day every single day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms, over on YouTube and on SiriusXM. I also have to let you know that you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you're going to get started with $150 in bonus bets if that $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. And I thought we would get started with talking about how this game feels like a trap, right? The Blue Jackets are in need of a bounce-back win. They don't want to lose 3 in a row, and they especially don't want to go down 3 in a row against a team like the Sharks, who have struggled all season long. Sharks are currently sitting at the bottom of the Pacific Division, and I believe the bottom of the West as well, despite the fact that they won 3 games in a row last week. I'm just double checking my math to make sure that I am right. They are indeed sitting at the bottom of the league. In fact, they have 8 points in 13 games so far. They're 3-8-2. They have a goal differential of -18. Blue Jackets still sitting at 500, 5-5-1. Would have loved if they could have gotten a point or two out of this weekend, but they didn't. So here we are. We're looking at again, this has to be a bounce back for them. They have to take what they learned in this weekend and presumably what they were yelled at about this weekend and transfer that to this game. But it feels kind of like a trap, right? Like, I feel like a lot of it is, it's only the Sharks. They can kind of get away with 75% effort and probably be fine because the goaltending in San Jose is awful and only one guy knows how to score goals, and they have 1.5 NHL defensemen, and that's how you lose games, right? And that's how the Blue Jackets have lost games in the past, is they have played to the level of their opponent. And we saw that a lot with specifically the Tortorella era, usually to good effect. We saw it a lot with Brad Larson era, usually to poor effect. And then with Pascal Vincent, they were just kind of awful from start to finish. For the most part with Dean Evason so far, again, I've been impressed with the effort. I've been impressed with the structure. I think they know that they need to be better. And I'd like to think that they're going to approach this game as if they are playing a much better team than the Sharks. It's a very easy team to write off. And I did that a little bit yesterday. I was like, it's only the Sharks, guys. You can do this. And I'm allowed to say that because I am a Sharks fan by marriage. My partner is out in San Jose. Every day is know this, but if you're brand new here, welcome. They're not my second team necessarily, but I do go to a lot of Sharks games while I'm out there, and I do have fondness for that team. What happens tonight is very much under the Blue Jackets' control, is the thing. They can go in and they can win this game, or they can go in and they can lose this game. I think it's very much up to what they want to do or what they end up doing. I don't know that a lot of this is under the control of the Sharks. Obviously winning 3 in a row for the Sharks was great. After starting the season, I want to say they were 0-7-2 through their first 9 games, and then they won the next 3 games. They lost against, who were they? They played Vancouver, and they lost with 30 seconds left in the game, which, again, the Blue Jackets have been there. I get it. It sucks. But this is not a team that, you can't take any team in this league lightly. Even if it is as easy to take lightly as, for example, the Sharks or the Ducks or the Canadians that are in free fall at the minute. I think this team knows itself well enough to know that they're not going to consider the Penguins an easy win, despite the fact that the Penguins are also kind of free falling through the air forever to the bottom of the Metro. You have to treat them like a threat. because otherwise you'll lose. Again, we've seen that before. I've seen this with the Blue Jackets so many times of like, I want to say it was 2 seasons ago. It was the team formerly known as the Arizona Coyotes, and they let Zach Cassian score like a ridiculous wraparound goal on them. And I think it was because they took the team lightly and they were like, oh, we don't need to worry about Zach Cassian. We don't need to worry about the Coyotes. And it came back and bit them. And I think if they do the same thing tonight with the Sharks, it will come back and bite them. So that's not what I want out of what's happening tonight. I would love, like, I don't necessarily think that like running through teams and like a 10-0 win is useful, especially when the team is, a struggling team. But I do wonder if the Blue Jackets need like a good old fashioned route to, it's good for what ails them. And I think when you look at specifically how the Blue Jackets are doing right now, they could use a big win. They could use a confidence building win. This road trip is going to be weird, I think. They're playing the Sharks tonight. Then they have a few days off. They don't play again until Saturday, I want to say, where they face the Ducks. Then they face the Kings on the Sunday. And then a couple of days after that, they face the Kraken. Now, all 4 of these teams are weird for the Pacific Division. So, like, obviously the Ducks are not great, the Sharks are not great, the Seattle Kraken are not great. The Kings, I don't think anyone knows what the Kings are. They're somehow sitting like second or tied for first in the division. They've got 17 points on the season. They've got a 7-3-3 record, but I've also seen them like lose games 6-1 to teams like Ottawa, So I don't think anyone understands what the Kings are. And again, we'll kind of get into that later on in the week. But my kind of overarching message of like how to beat the Sharks is just don't overthink it, don't overlook them. Like, just go out there and play the kind of hockey that you play like against Toronto, against the Islanders, against the Blues. Like, just you've played a lot of good hockey this season. Let's get back to that. And don't get stupid with it. Don't get 4-0 up and think, oh, we can screw around and have fun with it. Don't do that. Again, I've seen that before and it comes back to bite you. I'm going to talk a little bit in the second segment about specific Sharks to keep an eye out for, because there are, as a team, they have been struggling, but there have been some Sharks putting together very good individual performances. So we're going to talk about that in just a second here on Locked On Blue Jackets. First, I've got to tell you about Indeed, because we're all driven by the search for better. When it comes to hiring, though, the best way to search for a candidate isn't actually to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. They are your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. So you can ditch the busy work. You can use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging. You can connect with candidates faster. You don't have to keep playing email tag or phone tag and hoping that you can just kind of everyone's schedule works out magically. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, which means that you are not only getting your candidates fast, you're getting better candidates than you would anywhere else. I have been unlucky enough to have to job hunt in the past, not for a while, thank God, but I can see why 3.5 million businesses worldwide use Indeed to hire, because quite frankly, I don't think I've had a better experience job hunting than I have when I used Indeed. And here's the best bit. Listeners to this show are going to get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now. Support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Also, let you know about FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. And all you have to do with that is find the heaviest favorite you can. Like, pick the Chiefs to win a game. Pick the Winnipeg Jets to win a game. Like, bet on Connor McDavid doing something stupid. I know he's out injured at the minute, but like, bet on him having a hat trick. I don't know. Just bet $5 on something. If you win, you're going to get $150 in bonus bets. And the FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. It's not just the NFL. You can bet on whatever you want. Find whatever crazy out there sport you can. Turtle racing, water polo. I don't actually know if they have turtle racing, but like any sport you want, and you can make a little bit of money on FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. Again, if you win your first $5 bet, you're going to get started with $150 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets. We are talking about tonight's game against the Sharks. Now, I've said that the Sharks are kind of struggling as a team. They are, again, 3-7 in their last 10 games, which is super not great. They have only won 3 games all season. Blue Jackets are looking in much better shape. They are 5-4-1 in their last 10 games. They just had a 4-game point streak snapped with admittedly 2 heavy losses to Winnipeg and Washington. The Sharks are not Winnipeg and Washington. They're a much weaker team. That being said, I still think you can't like look at them and be like, oh, it's fine, we'll waltz past them. And there's a couple of reasons for this. Number one is that Mikael Granlund is continuing to lead this team in basically everything that counts. He's got 6 goals on the year, 8 assists for 14 points in 13 games. He is playing like the team's number 1 center. I suspect that will change now that Celebrini is back, which that's a key player to watch, who we'll talk about in a second here. Mikael Granlund has been carrying that load while Celebrini has been out, and he's been doing quite well with it. Tyler Toffoli, the walking 20-goal scorer, is going to be in San Jose for the foreseeable. He's also got 6 goals on the season. Maybe the biggest addition this season, though, has been Jake Wallman, who has a goal and 8 assists. 7 of those points have come in his last 5 games, including 7 of those points, including 6 assists, have come in his last 5 games. And the Sharks got a 2nd-round pick to take that contract, and he's turned into an extremely promising number 1 defenseman. They've just picked up Timothy Liljegren. I believe it's he's changed his pronunciation of that, which is fine. It will just take a minute for me to get used to it. Has been very good for the team also. Unfortunately, it's the other 5 defensemen that have kind of struggled for this team right now. We'll see how that goes. Again, if you get into like a track meet with this team, I think you're going to be okay. I don't think the goaltending is going to be out of this world wonderful. It looks like the Blue Jackets are going with Elvis, who's got a 907 on the season, even after the Winnipeg game. But the Sharks will be going with either Mackenzie Blackwood or Vitek Vanacek, neither of whom have been sparkling this season. Blackwood has been better than expected. And again, it's been tough playing behind this defense specifically, where for a long time it was Jake Wallman and 5 liabilities. Liljegren has improved that a little bit, and I think giving guys like Ferraro and Ceci less to do will probably help in the long run. Similarly, in a similar way to how the Blue Jackets not having to play Eric Branson on the top pairing meant that they got a much better Eric Branson out of it. If they don't have to play Mario Ferraro 25 minutes a night, then he'll probably get a better Mario Ferraro. But the Blue Jackets, I think, win the defense game. I think they're going to have to watch out for Jake Wallman, who, again, has been extremely good in the early going in this season. He's got the same amount of points as Werenski in a couple more games. So that's definitely a guy to look out for. I've mentioned Mikael Granlund. Like, the guy to look out for, though, Macklin Celebrini has returning tonight. He played the home opener. Got injured in the first period, played the rest of the game, scored his first NHL goal, scored the first goal of the season for the Sharks, had 2 points on the night, and then hasn't played since then. So he's missed, 12 games, I think it is, if I'm doing my my math correctly. Look for him to be fresh and excited and dangerous tonight. Again, Blue Jackets cannot overlook. Yes, he's 18 years old, but I have a feeling he's going to make at least one Blue Jacket look silly tonight, and I can't shake my logic for that. That's just how I feel. I feel like he's going to do something that's going to make people look silly tonight. Again, celebrating wonderful talent. Like, again, I was at the home opener, got to watch him play there. Phenomenal player. If he could be less phenomenal tonight, I would appreciate that. In terms of the Blue Jackets, like players to watch, Monahan's got 4 points in his last 5 games. 3 of them are goals. And Mantilli's got 3 assists in his last 5 games. Again, they're changing up the lines for the Blue Jackets, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit here. But like, I feel like there are so many Blue Jackets that are just this close to like figuring it out and popping off. Like, again, Fantilli, I feel like is one of them. I feel like Cole Sullinger's another one. He's got 8 points in 11 games, so it's not like he's not popping off. Adam Fantilli has 6 points in 11 games so far. I'd like to see a little bit more from him. Obviously, Marchenko and Monahan and Chinikov are all killing it. I would like to see a little bit more from Chinikov specifically. And then, the defense is the defense. It's been kind of up and down. Again, Werenski and Provorov have impressed me. Severson has his good nights and bad nights. I think Jay Christensen has overachieved. And it looks like we're going to see David Jiricek back in the lineup again after the game on Saturday against the Capitals. We'll talk about that in a second as well. But something interesting is when you go to NHL.com, you can like get a little game preview and it'll show you, what the goaltending has been like for the last 5 games and what the last 5 games of scoring has been like. And it'll give you like team stats and stuff. It'll give you power play, penalty kill, face off, goals for, and goals against per game. Gives you like the last 10 games of each team. Gives you the season series, which obviously this is the first in the season series for this team. So it's fine. But the Sharks are actually better than the Blue Jackets in both the power play and the penalty kill. Not by much on the penalty kill. They are 1.5 percentage points better on the PK. But they are better on the power play. They are winning in face-offs. They are not scoring a bunch of goals per game, and they are also allowing a bunch of goals per game. They're basically losing every game 3-2. Again, the math doesn't exactly work out. Blue Jackets, again, their goals against per game got tanked this weekend. It's, again, small sample sizes, but if they can have a couple of good low-scoring games right now, that'll bring that right back up. Currently, they're scoring 3.5 goals per game and allowing 3.4 goals per game, so, like, that's really, really close. The Sharks are scoring 2.4 goals per game and allowing 3.7. So, in theory, this should be a 3-2 win for the Blue Jackets. We'll talk about predictions in a minute here, but I thought it was interesting that both the power play and the penalty kill are doing pretty well for the Sharks. I guess 5-on-5 is where they struggle. And I also wanted to pull up one stat from my friend and co-worker over at Locked On Sharks, JD Young, who tweeted about 40 minutes ago, the Sharks have given up 19 goals after scoring a goal. 11 of those goals have been scored within 3 minutes of a Sharks goal. After scoring, the Sharks concede the next goal 59.4% of the time. And, like, again, I don't know that you necessarily want to get into a track meet, but if you have to, it feels like the Sharks are the team to do it, because it looks like if you score a goal and then they score a goal, you can basically get that goal right back. They concede a lot of bounce back goals, I guess. Alison Lucan has a really great name for them, and I can't response goals. That's what they are. They concede a lot of response goals. So if the Blue Jackets can get on that, like, obviously the goal is to not concede at all, but if they do, it sounds like they could probably do some work to get that goal back pretty easily, because the Sharks love to give up goals immediately after scoring them. Which again is something that I am very familiar with, having seen a lot of Sharks games in the recent years. Going to take one more quick break, and then I want to talk about, there's been a couple of small lineup switches. Nothing too crazy, but I want to talk about that, and then we'll talk about predictions for the game. So we're going to talk about that in just a second here on Locked On Blue Jackets. First, I'm going to tell you about Prize Picks. What is Prize Picks? Well, it is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less of at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash, so you can run your game all season long on Prize Picks. It is the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including places like California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. And it's the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, so your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, PrizePicks keeps your lineup live. So join 10 million users and sign up today. And they invented the flex play, which means that you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. And they put their members first. All withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money as quick as 15 minutes. And PrizePicks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive that bonus. It's guaranteed. Once again, that is $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Just use code LOCKEDON NHL. That's Locked On NHL. You're going to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets. Let's talk about the lineup switches. Again, it's nothing like hugely major. I appreciate that they're keeping that top line together. Again, I think it would be really easy, and certain coaches would probably do this, would not overreact necessarily, but also it is kind of an overreaction to the weekend to tear the roster up and start from the start. I like that Everson is keeping that line together. I know that he's not afraid to change things up. I believe that there was a minute in or a couple of minutes in the game where Chinakhov got moved down to that second line, and that second line looked pretty good. But top line is the same. It looks like the second line is going to be Cole Sillinger, Adam Fantilli, Mikhail Pucha, which I like. I like the Sillinger, Fantilli, Voronkov line. I thought that was a really fun power forward line, but Voronkov going down to the third line, I think, is the move. He's played 2 games so far this season. Ease him back in. I still think that there's maybe a place for him on that second line, but putting him with Danforth and Olivier again, I don't know that I would necessarily call that a power forward line, but I do think that's going to be a really unpleasant line to play against. Olivier crashes and bangs. Danforth has no fear. Voronkov is a human wrecking ball. So I like that top 9 a lot. I don't know who's going to be playing out of Aston Reese and Van Riemsdyk, but it looks like whoever it is going to be playing on the line with Kuraly and LeBanc. I don't know which of those players, even odds on which player it is. I'm not mad at either one of those guys getting left out necessarily. I personally would probably sit Kuraly or LeBanc, but I know that they probably want to play LeBanc because obviously it's I don't think it's his return to San Jose. Unless yes, it might actually be his first game in San Jose, not as a Shark. Maybe I'm misremembering his career trajectory, but so they're going to play him, and so one of Aston Reese or Van Riemsdyk will sit, which is fine. Again, if you're quibbling about who's playing on the fourth line, it's probably fine. Again, keeping the defense mostly correct. I appreciate that. Again, there's no throwing Jack Johnson up on that top line or healthy scratching Jay Christensen or whatever. Putting Jiricek back in is interesting. I think this will be his second straight game. I don't disagree with this. Again, I don't know that they should be playing Johnson over Harris, but I do think Harris has been struggling for the past couple of games. I don't necessarily think sitting him is a bad idea. Mostly, I'm pleased to see Jiricek getting some more time. Again, he has not played a ton this season. He's only played 3 games so far this season, and he's averaging about 13.5 minutes of ice time. I'd like to think he's going to get plenty of ice time tonight against the Sharks, but who knows what will happen. Again, there's a world in which the Sharks put up an effort and the Blue Jackets are forced to basically roll 4 defensemen the entire game, which, fine, whatever. I would like to see David Jiricek get some more time, and I would like to see him get potentially some more significant time in terms of the power play. Perhaps put him on that second unit, let him use that big shot from the point. What are we doing here? Good to see him on the ice. Would like to see him on the ice a little bit more. That's kind of it in terms of like I said, there's not a ton of lineup switches, which I appreciate. They're mixing a couple of things up, but they're not tearing it up and starting from the start. They're keeping what worked together and then adjusting what didn't. And I feel like that, last season, it would be well, everyone played badly, so we're going to just start again and make up 4 completely new lines and then expect people to play well in these completely new lines. And when that doesn't work, then we'll try another 4 completely new lines. That doesn't seem to be happening here. Dean Everson, he knows what works. He's keeping that top line together. He's keeping the top 4 defensemen together and adjusting beneath that. So hopefully we get some success. Hopefully we get some good stuff. coming out of it, and we'll talk about that on tomorrow's episode, obviously. We'll wrap up with predictions. I'm going to say it's so easy to say Kevin LeBanc is going to score tonight because that just feels like it feels ripe for a revenge game, you know. Similarly, I didn't even mention him, but old friend Alex Wenberg is on the Sharks now, and he hates to shoot the puck, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him score tonight. He's got 2 goals on the season so far. Frankly, it's more than I expected. One of them he scored by accident, at least one of them anyway. But in terms of the Blue Jackets, like Kevin LeBanc would be a fun choice to score a revenge goal. I think I'm going to keep my prediction of. I think I predicted Cole Sillinger against the Jets, and he didn't score, but I'm going to stick with that. I think he's due. He's got 2 goals on the season. Would love to see him hit double digits in points tonight. Again, he's got 8 points in the season so far, so he's not like floundering or anything. But I would love to see him take a couple of steps forward offensively, because I think he's been very good as a young 2-way center. Playing on the wing right now with Fantilli, and again, I like that Sillinger, Fantilli, Puccia line a lot. So I'd love to see that line have really a breakout game, and show that Adam Fantilli again can be like a dominant young player in this league. So I'm picking Sillinger as my goal scorer, and I'm gonna say that I think the Blue Jackets are gonna win this game 4-2. Including an empty netter, which, as we all know on this show, empty netters don't count. So really, it's a 3-2 win. But I'm going to say 4-2, including that empty netter. And I think it's probably going to be a really stupid game to watch. Like, do I think it's going to be fun? Do I think the hockey is going to be good? No, not necessarily. Do I think it's going to be really stupid? Yes. I think it's going to be so stupid. So bring it on, you know? That's all I've got for today. Like I said, tomorrow we'll break down tonight's game against the Sharks, and hopefully we'll have some fun stuff to talk about. Thank you for listening, for making it your first listen of the day every single day. Locked on Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms, on YouTube and on SiriusXM. I've been Jay Foster. You can find me on Twitter at _Jacob Foster, JAKOBFORSTER. You can find the show at LO_Blue Jackets. You have comments, questions, criticisms, email me at lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com. Thank you once again for listening, and until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.